They say fear drives people to respect a leader, right? Then what does the people do when the leader soon becomes their worst nightmare? Stay tuned as I take you through the journey of Ogundiji, a ferocious warrior, and Bojita, a commoner. Quick disclaimer, this recap is not meant to replace the original or stop you from watching the full movie. Credit to Femi Adebayo. Watch the full movie on Netflix. Sit back, watch out, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Spoilers ahead. The story begins with the introduction of Ogundiji as a fearless warrior, someone who is a legend throughout the various kingdoms. The movie dives into a town of Keto, where they are currently in chaos because they have been invaded by a man who wants to take the throne. The chief invader asks for the ancestral crown of the kingdom, but the king knows more than trying to play a game with him. And it turns out that the invader doesn't have time for game, so they kill the first son of the king. And then he has no option to disclose where the crown is. Upon getting the crown, the invader still means to kill everyone, but a blade slashes his hand and we do not know where it's coming from. Well, sooner we see it's actually Ogundiji that saved the day. And as usual, he gets his glory from his people. Fast forward to the present day, a man known as Bojita is on his way to the school of warriors, where Ogundiji is training men to become just like him, or better. Now, Bojita lineage are known for speaking with the trees and understanding them as well, and they are also great carvers. He arrives at the school where they get welcomed by bullets that killed few of them, then the rest of them are attacked survivors. While listing them in, a warrior discovers a man who disobeys the order of putting away all weapons and belongings, and after the fight with him, they realize he's a spy. Without any option, one of the three senior warriors have taken him down by himself. The training of the arrivals begin immediately, and while they train, they also learn to worship Ogundiji. At this point, I wonder if actually is part of the training. Alright, the warriors are trained with weapons and army's charms because charms are very necessary tool in battle. On the final day, Ogundiji welcomes them as basic warriors. Taking over a throne from someone as long as you have the capacity to do so has become a norm. The greater advantage anyone can also get is when Ogundiji is in alliance with you. So an Onsupa who stole the throne from his brother still reports to Ogundiji about the possible threat made against him. Meanwhile, he's the one causing the havoc. Ogundiji sends his men to attack the Onsupa brothers, and on the battlefield, Bojita fight bravely alongside the fellow basic warriors. Meanwhile, the three senior warriors see this kind of war as a degrading one, so they stay in the forest and wait for the freshers to do the killing. And it turns out the opposition is very strong that Ogundiji's warriors begin to reduce, and so he sends Agemo, a master assassin, to help the soldiers out. Not because he cares for them, but to uphold his legacy. When they return home, Ogundiji punishes the three senior soldiers by locking them up without food until he decides what to do with them. That night, Iro, who is Ogundiji's daughter and also in charge of the food given to the warriors, tells them they will be eating a very small ration that night. Bojita protests against it single-handedly, and when she comes to inquire who questioned her order, he comes out boldly. The next day, Iro punishes him, but he still doesn't back down on his word, even if he has to die. Later, they begin to treat him, and Iro brings him oranges as a gift, which gets him surprised. She also calls for him the next day, and after praising his bravery, she tells him they should be friends. Meanwhile, in Aje Kingdom, two farmers who are in business of trying to buy a woman's love goes to give her gifts. It seems that she doesn't answer them after all because she's already in love with someone who is learning to be a warrior in Agunje's camp. And with no option, the men took their gifts back home after she insults them. At Ogundiji's palace, his wife is begging him to pity the senior warrior who's been locked up, and while he's contemplating and finally yielding in, he senses something. At the prison, a man is disobeying Ogundiji secretly by giving the warriors food, after he instructed no one should feed the prisoners. While the queen is still talking to him, he notices it and appears in the prison, where he orders the death of the Good Samaritan and the release of the prisoners. So with his command, the man got burnt in the midst of everybody. The next morning, the villagers are gathered around the burnt body that had been returned home from Ogundiji's school, and the lover finds her lover dead. In case you don't know, even the kings and rulers of various kingdoms dare not to question Ogundiji, rather they talk about the gifts they give to him, saying his festival is coming up. Days later, the lover whose man got burned goes before her gods and commands they go and kill the Ogundiji's wife as payback for killing her lover. At Ogundiji's kingdom, his daughter has fallen for Bojita, and her mom asks her to make sure her father doesn't see him around him, but she pays deaf ear to it. While in the palace, the queen gets attacked by the deities, and Bojita, through the spells, comes and saves her, although she fought bravely on her own too. At Ladinle Kingdom, Bogumi, who is a very brave warrior, is about to embark on a journey to wage war against his wife's village. She calls her sister to help her talk him out of it, and he agrees not to go. In case you don't know, Ogiji doesn't like when he hears that he has been disobeyed, and so his alliance and friendship with Bogumi begins to depreciate. The next morning, Bojita and Bogumi comes to the palace to see Ogunji differently. When he dismisses Bojita, he goes outside to see Bogumi, who praises him for his bravery in saving the queen and promises to reward him of charms. Meanwhile, the queen asks Ogunjiji if he will not give Bojita any gifts, seeing that the young man really tried to save her life that day. But Ogunjiji, who doesn't like his glory being shared, dismisses her. He also refuses to see Bogumi, who came to apologize again for defying his orders. The next day, the festival of Ogundiji takes place, and during the event, a game is played. Now, this game is said to have won by one person, Ogundiji, and that no other person has ever won this game after him. But that day, Bojita does it and Ogundiji gets surprised. And we also can see that Iro is so proud of the lover. That same night, she tells him how proud she is of him for doing what no one has done aside her father. Meanwhile, Ogunji remembers the counsels of his advisors to silence Bojita before everyone forgets about him, seeing that everyone has begun to sing the name of Bojita in praises. The next day, Bojita visits Bogomi, where he shares the story of how his father hid him in a tree before he was killed, and Bogomi decides to favor him by giving him charms. That same night, Ogunjiji summons Bojita and tells him he will have to accomplish 3 tasks before he gets promoted to a higher rank of warriors. He tells him that the first task will be the fight to death with Bogomi. Now everyone knows that Bojita is no match for Bogomi because the man is a great warrior, and Bogomi regrets that he will have to kill the young man who calls him father. On that day, Bogomi nearly kills Bojita, but he narrowly kills Bogomi by using his 3 spells, and everyone begins to mock Bogomi's death. After that, Ogundiji announces the second task, which is Bojita staying in coffin for 7 days without food or water. This time, Iro motivates him and promises that him and her fathers would only give her to him if he manages to get his promotion because he would be respected by everyone. And so Bojita agrees to do anything for her. 3 days later in the coffin, her mom tells her it's necessary for him to finish the task before being promoted. But we all know that it's not about the promotion. She just don't care. And Iro goes to check up on Bojita and he tells her that he's held and healthy in the coffin. Ogundiji hears this and decides to add more hell to it by sinking him into the river. Bojita, on the other hand, calls for the 3 gods to save him, but the deity delays before finally saving him. He returns home that night with even more praises from the people, and everyone gets surprised to see Ogunjiji's daughter in love with him. The story continues when Ogunjiji gives Bojita the last task to wage war in a particular village that is innocent, and he goes. The next day at the village, the people are having festival, and although Bojita doesn't want to attack, the 2 warriors sent with him wouldn't want to disobey Ogunjiji, so they attack together. The other 2 loses their life in the battle, but Bojita survives it. When he returns through the forest, he realizes that Agemo, the masked assassin, has been sent to kill him. He beckons on the trees to help him, and they kill Agemo on his behalf, not until he notices that the masked assassin is his lover, Iro. He wonders why his father would send his only child on such errands, and that's when she tells her that Ogundiji isn't her biological father, and that she was only abducted from her attacked village after Ogunjiji saw that she was a powerful child, and so he saved her just to use her to kill innocent people in the end. After the tales, she dies and Bojita wails. He arrives the next day with Agemo or Iro, and everyone gathers around him. He then makes a speech to call everyone to wake up from the slavery and tyranny of Ogundiji because he's been using them and making them dance to his tone. He also spills the beans to Iro's mom that her husband hid her real child somewhere else after promising her he wouldn't have any other child as long as she sells her womb to make him a great warrior. Well, Ogundiji, on the other hand, doesn't have any regrets for betraying her, and so the battle breaks out. He also let Bojita know that it was him who attacked his village and killed his father. At this point, some warriors stand with Bojita, and even though they try, Ogundiji is full of strength and charms, so they can't penetrate him. However, his wife, who knows the secret to his powers, takes out the only dagger that could pass his charms, and he goes down. Just then, Bojita finishes him up to his dead fathers, charm father, Bogumi, and his dead lover, Iro. Sometime later, the kingdom is still in disarray, and there is no ruler to be feared that will keep the law and order. Sooner, Ogunjiji's brother arrives, and after being welcomed by the wise one, he screams his brother's name, Ogundiji, and here the movie ends. So guys, what's your take at this point? Would you wage war against him or come under Bojita? Drop your opinion and don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, anticipate more videos from us in this channel, Nollywood Backup page. Bye for now.